What's up? What's up? Welcome, one and all to the thrift store. It is TSP TV. It is live. It is fridAI the 13th. Not so special live, not the live show I was hoping to bring you this evening. However, I did promise you all yesterday that we would be up and running tonight again for a live show at 9 p.m. I'm running a little bit behind schedule. I did notice we did have 7 folks watching at one stage during the intro, down to 3 so far. So maybe the little cute dancing cartoon girl put some people off and sent them away. No, can't say I have heard that. What up, Cali Ninja? What up, Martha? What up, Prepper Chick in Texas? And I think we had Share Bear here also. Welcome to the 3 or 4 of you that have stuck around longer than the I can't turn up the voice anymore, I'm afraid. Martha, this is as loud as it goes, although I did just notice that my microphone wasn't plugged in all the way, so hopefully that might be a little bit better, but sadly no, I don't have the option to turn up the microphone volume, sadly. But there you go, this is my little thumbnail for today. Okay, that's what it was. I didn't have the mic plugged all the way in, so there you go. There's my little fridAI the 13th, not so special thumbnail. Hopefully you guys like that. I do enjoy making my little thumbnails, but as I said, we did promise yesterday that we would bring you a show. There we go, here I am, got my little New Orleans scary t-shirt on because it is Friday the 13th. As I said yesterday, hang on a second, let me rearrange this. And oh my goodness, we've got all sorts of stuff going on. Never mind, let's just leave it. I don't think anyone's going to borrow too much now. Yeah, well, it's pretty much like every day is Friday the 13th these days. Judy Bell, as you know, we do live in some very, very strange times. Welcome ATM. I was saying we've only got 2 people watching now, so if or not this is the algorithm working against me, exactly as I was trying to explain yesterday, that kind of you get a little bit of a dopamine and a bit of a attention. They put your video out there, make sure people see it, but I know for a fact that there's more than 2 people watching, so we've got ATN, Martha, Prepper Chick, and Cali Ninja, so saying we've got 4 now, but that was a little bit of what we were saying yesterday and over the last sort of few weeks, how the artificial intelligent algorithm, how the mind control, how the manipulation is working against us, and we will find out a little bit more. I will tell you a little bit more about my day as we divulge and go on, but that's what I'm saying. It's saying I got 4 people watching, but who knows if that is accurate or not. And as we were pointing out, sometimes the algorithm, the platforms like to kind of confuse you, and certainly things that we've noticed, we've experienced some manipulation during live feeds. Remember, there was a show not so long ago where we had 13 thumbs down, but only had 6 people watching at the time. Do the math there, I don't know, but more people thumbs down than watching. And then during that show or that stream, it was a Baby Pete actually that pointed out that it changed to 4 thumbs down. So we know this stuff goes on, and I actually call a little bit of stuff that I put on the Facebook group. If or not you paid any attention to that, I doubt it. But I had an incident last week where they removed, I think it was last Thursday, I checked in my little studio app and noticed that I had 5 unsubscribers, yet the day after when I checked it had amended itself to I had only 1 that unsubscribed. So as I said, maybe there is a little bit of manipulation going on in blocking, and some of the things that we have been looking at might be at play as we speak. Passive censorship, shadow banning. And again, remember yesterday that we were talking about, hey guys, guess what, I'll be back tomorrow 9 p.m. make sure to set your reminders. We'll see you all there. Now again, my apologies, I was a little bit late than anticipated, so some people may have been tuned in at 9 p.m. and we weren't here, but been a very, very strange day. And if or not the strangeness, or some of the strangeness, can be accounted for by artificial interference, who knows? But it is something that I'm sort of trying to fathom or figure out or kind of like notice some similarities in symptoms. In particular, PCT is we're called in JBG now, although I'm never going to get used to that JBG, you do realise, sweetheart. But we've been experiencing very similar symptoms: tired, lethargic, not wanting to go out of bed. And now a couple more of you who've been watching along have also been saying the same thing, that you've been feeling these symptoms. Now, we're connected by the fact that we all watch TSP TV. Some of us are friends on Facebook. We're connected. The algorithm knows that all of us here, some way or another, are connected via this platform. So what if the algorithm and the artificial intelligence is tuning the frequencies to make us all kind of experience similar symptoms as a result of maybe the things that we follow or interest on our social media platforms, if this or not makes any sense. Now, I did also say as yesterday that I was going to try and plan to put together a little bit of a special Fiction Decoded episode for you today. However, although I did get myself up, I did sort of have all the best intentions and even did get to the point of setting myself up ready to do some recording, due to possible artificial interference and an awful lot of unwanted, unavoidable, out of your control circumstances. Makes sense to me. Okay, that does make sense. Thank you, Martha. So I'm not exactly crazy for thinking such things, but it's been one of those days where, despite all my plans and maybe not exactly all my best efforts, there was some effort. Things have been against me that have prevented me from doing some recording, as I was sort of kind of planning to do, put together a little presentation like we did yesterday, highlight excuse me, to highlight a couple of the shows that I have been binge watching recently that kind of have a little bit of relevance to some of the stuff that I have been talking about on these streams and episodes the last few weeks. But as I said, there's been sort of unavoidable, out of my control circumstances, a lot of background noise, if you know what I mean, as well as I found myself feeling what's the word, like overwhelmed somehow, sort of nauseated, felt very, very sick, very, very lightheaded. And unbelievably, look at this. Did you hear that? Weeks, but as I said, there's been sort of unavoidable, out of my control. So my phone, like, I set the volume down and it just turned itself off, and that internet phone there has just lost its connection. And if I just turn you around there, my Chromecast has just reset itself when I'm talking about artificial intelligence. And is it listening? Is it watching? Is it able to affect our surroundings, behavior, moods, or even health? And that is what I was kind of getting at today. That I got up, got my caffeine and then smoking and medicating on, took a shower, got myself ready to start recording, started setting up my screen recorder, got the first article that I wanted to do. I'd even made the thumbnail. That's usually sort of a little bit of a starting point for me in video productions. Once I sort of get my thumbnail and I'm a little bit happy with that, I'm like, okay, that's my foundation. Let's build the episode around the thumbnail. Sometimes build the thumbnail around the episode, but usually I need something to start me off. So that was my starting off point. Put together my thumbnail, happy with that. Let's start to record. And then all of a sudden I got bombarded with these kind of symptoms. My head started pounding. I started to feel very, 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 very nauseous, and even did go to the toilet to kind of put my head over the bowl just in case I did chunder, although I didn't, but I did cough up a little bit of, you know what I mean? And felt as though I had a migraine coming on. Now, on top of this, there was a little bit of noise continual throughout the day, sort of persistent, a little bit like kind of Chinese water torture in some ways, and sort of put a little bit of like that kind of Chinese water, you know, when they kind of drip, and after a little while it just gets to the point that your nervous system is all but shot. Welcome, Mrs. Owl. Glad to see you from Eugene, Oregon. Nice to have someone from a state that isn't Texas, although we do love our Texans here, but that is primarily the amount of folks that do seem to tune in and enjoy TSP TV. Maybe I should call myself the Texan thrift store prepper, even though I'm not Texan or in Texas or ever been to Texas. But never mind, I do digress. But as I said, bearing in mind that yesterday I did tell you guys that were watching that we would be putting together a show. I did have intentions to put together a presentation for tonight's show, and then when I went out and tried to do that, I got bombarded with this kind of wave of, as I said, nausea, sickness, a little bit of dizziness. Now, the other reason I mention this, because she's not here at the moment. I think she's got babysitting duties. But yesterday, Maiden mentioned to me that she happened to feel extremely lightheaded and actually fainted yesterday. I hope she doesn't mind. She said she was going to mention something during the stream yesterday, but didn't want to sort of distract the topic and flow of things, but she did mention it afterwards, so I am mentioning it now. Maybe Maiden will pop in later and we can talk a bit more of it. But again, she's someone within our little circle. Fainting, nausea, all of these things are symptoms of electromagnetic sensitivity. So somehow, some way, are we being targeted for possibly being in the same circle of social media associates as we are? Right, welcome Kelly Kibo. Saw your message today that you were bummed that you missed yesterday's stream, and it was I'm bummed that you weren't here, because it wasn't actually a fun stream in the end. We had a good turnout, good crowd, and went on for a little bit longer than normal. But as I said, today I did have some plans to put together a little bit of a fiction decoded live special. So I thought maybe kind of interacting live when we kind of see it, we can sort of point things out, talk about them, which sort of may be lost when you sort of upload stuff and you kind of watch them individually, or as and when sort of, you know, the collective show and tell kind of experience, I guess, was what I was getting at and what I wanted to try and do in tonight's show for you all. However, as I said, I did sort of have to deal with some outside interference and sound issues that sort of kind of made it a little bit difficult to do any recording. And then these weird, crazy symptoms that the closer I got to my phone, and every time I sort of picked the phone up, because I kind of have it on my little stand to do my screen recording, kind of put it here, it got worse, and the further away I got from my phone, the sort of easier the symptoms seemed to get. Now, just before I come on air about 8:30, and while I did override a little bit, is I dived in the shower, and sometimes like being in water kind of does, I don't know if it blocks frequencies or something, but it did sort of refresh the system, and I did go outside, have a cup of coffee and a smoke, get some fresh air, and do feel a little bit better. But the closer I do seem to get to my device, the worse it gets. Now, something also that is interesting on this subject, that a few weeks ago, I can't even remember what video or stream it was in particular, but it was Megan, good old Megan down under in Australia. She mentioned something very, very interesting. She has an EMF reader, and she sort of has it on her hand or two hand at any given moment, and she noticed that when she was watching TV in particular, the newsreel, whenever they were talking about COVID-19 and the pandemic or this sort of kind of topic, that the EMF frequency levels on her reader went up. So are they kind of, you know, when the TV are broadcasting this, are they kind of controlling the wavelengths and the frequencies rather, that are bombarding people with fear, that makes them agitated, that makes them anxiety, the anxiety rise, and stuff like that? And something said, Martha earlier, yes, a lot of people have been feeling tired and queasy. Now, if any of you guys today may or may not have felt a little bit lightheaded, queasy, or maybe like you were going to faint or perhaps throw up, because it happened to Maiden yesterday, and then sort of today very similar symptoms happened to me, although I didn't faint. My little admin ladies that do look after me, my surrogate mothers, Judy Bell, Baby Pamplin in Maiden, said, you know what, maybe you need to eat and hydrate, which I did. I did eat a meal, got a bottle of Tang in me and some Coca-Cola for sugar and vitamin C, plenty of protein in grease and fat in some cheeseburgers to give my body something to burn off, because I do feel as though maybe I am a little bit malnourished. Not because I don't have food. I do have plenty of food on hand, but I just don't have the sort of energy or the desire to do very much with myself, as I was sort of talking about in the last few episodes this week. That, you know, I did a show last Monday, and then for a week I just didn't feel like doing anything other than getting out of bed. And even when I did get out of bed, the only thing I really wanted to do was go back to bed. Is this artificial electromagnetic interference bombarding me? They know I'm a truther. They know I've got a YouTube channel. They know some of the things that I talk about are undesired. Am I a targeted individual? And targeted individuals isn't as cool as it probably sounds. I've just triggered settings within the algorithm that is alerted it to the fact that, you know what, this guy talks about stuff that we don't really want people talking about. Let's try and block his videos. Let's maybe go after the people that he is close to. Now, again, something from fiction. There's a new show. It's only 3 episodes in at the minute, called Next. I'm not even sure what network it is airing on, but it's brand new, and it's all about a rogue artificial intelligent program that is got so super intelligent that it really has taken over every single computer in the world. And it's always watching, it's always kind of listening, and it's manipulating people, all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff that this artificial intelligence is doing. It even sort of burnt down a big, huge computer system, like big MIT type place, and they were kind of trying to get into the system and crack the code and shut the algorithm down from within the program itself. But the algorithm was so smart and didn't want to be shut down that it burnt down that particular computer facility to stop the hackers from getting in and sort of ending it. It was that smart. It wanted to stay alive, a little bit like Johnny 5 is alive, Short Circuit, if you remember. But again, it's fiction. I'm not saying that this is real, but fiction does have origins from reality. Science fiction sort of is based on science facts, science theory perhaps, but it went after this particular lady who was part of a research team that was trying to shut this algorithm down, and it caused the aircraft that she was flying on to crash, killing her as well as everybody else on board as an effort to do it. So this was all the result of the artificial algorithm. So do our little computers and our little friends inside our phones, just how powerful is this artificial intelligence? Did I notice that Share Bear left? Goodbye, bonsoir. We'll see you next time, perhaps. Yeah, that's something Callie Ninja's just mentioned in there that I said I think I probably mentioned this week, but I sort of sleep, and doesn't matter how much sleep I get, that it doesn't feel as though I have slept. And almost immediately, the minute I do get out of bed, scratch my ass, take a piss, drink a coffee, I'm like, oh my God, I just want to go back to bed again, and sort of half-heartedly keep myself awake as long as possible before I do. And as I said, is this or is this not the result of artificial intelligent interference, controlling frequencies and wavelengths that can make us feel sick, or take away our energy? And as I said, today I am kind of still struggling a little bit. I do have a pounding headache. The bright light is kind of hurting my eyes a little bit, to be quite honest with you. So I don't think we're going to have a very, very long show tonight. But as I said, I did promise you guys yesterday that were watching that we would be back again today at 9 p.m. So rather than let you down or flake on you, I did decide let's throw something together a little bit last minute. It isn't going to be the show that I hoped for. but let's try and wing it. And again, something I've noticed recently, or in recent weeks, in months, in fact, it sort of shows that I just throw together on a whim and sort of think, oh, you know what, fuck it, let's just do this, tend to seem to be a little bit smoother than the ones I go to length and trouble to put together. And again, I sort of know that my artificial computer knows what I'm doing when I'm sort of searching for stuff and I'm recording stuff. It listens to me making my videos. It knows everything that I'm doing, and it understands what I'm doing it for. There's a little burp for baby P, who's not with us. So does it go out of its way then to make sure that people don't watch what I make by hiding it or not notifying you? Does it make people that are in my circle feel tired? Does it increase their pain values? Does it make them faint? Does it, like, we don't want people to listen to what this guy's got to say. And I know that sounds very, very outlandish and crazy, and I'm nobody special. I don't got any secret insider whistleblower information to bring you. This is just kind of thoughts and opinions and theories that I kind of throw together for myself based on what I'm seeing and what I'm experiencing. And you know, in recent weeks, I do understand that I'm dealing with grief, depression, and loss. I've got sort of seasonal symptoms to deal with. I don't like this time of year anyway. I also kind of, this time of year is also the time of year that I found myself getting locked up in the United States and ended up sort of being locked up for weeks and months until I eventually got deported, which was, you know, up until losing my dad, the most traumatic experience of my life, and probably still was, because of the prolonged agony of it, and the fact that you're sort of in a very, very hostile, unforgiving environment and territory as being in jail. I am sort of blessed. I'm not incarcerated. I got freedom. I can go out and about. I do got my weed I can smoke, and some luxuries, not luxuries, but I got some comforts on hand, like, you know, my food and stuff. It's not like I'm relying on chow hall and ramen noodles as I was inside. But similar sort of experiences is feeling a little bit trapped, a little bit helpless, a little bit sort of overwhelmed by the weight and the enormity of everything that circumstances put on me, as well as living in these very, very strange COVIDian days, as well as possibly facing the fact that there is an artificial intelligent, can't really call it a being, presence, I guess, for want of a better word, that could or could not be affecting my health. And does this have the ability to possibly cause me to have a heart attack? I actually do believe that somehow, some way, my father was taken out of the game because he was of an age and was on getting cancer treatment from the NHS, which is an awful lot of money to be forking out for the government's expense. Although it is funded by the public, the government ain't really paying for it, but never mind. Was he one of the people that was taken out of the equation as part of depopulation? And you know how we've mentioned before that with monarch programming and this sort of Manchurian candidates, that if and as I do truly believe that they are using MK Ultra and monarch programming methods within social media to breed kind of Manchurian candidates, or maybe even hive minds, which is what we were kind of been sort of suggesting in talking about yesterday. Lost my train of thought completely there, and that is what happens. Something about an electric meter. I live close to a fifth wheel trail clamps, so no electric meter. That's right, you've got yourself a trailer, right, Cali Ninja, so maybe that's good. Yeah, I think there is a heart attack machine. I've heard about it. I think George Carlin, very, very smart and bright guy, talked about conspiracies in shadow governments and such forth. He died in sort of mysterious circumstances of a heart attack. And this is what I'm saying about sort of the Manchurian candidates in monarch programming, that they can, program these individuals and these covert agents, rather, to commit suicide once their programming has been carried out. So can this device, and this is again why I'm trying to sort of make you guys a little bit aware of this sort of behavior pattern, that maybe at the moment it is just copying and pasting bunnies and sharing if you agree, and giving amens on command, but these are triggers and calls to action. And this is a little bit like we were chatting about, smash the like, hit the bell. These are what are known as calls to action, and within Monarch programming, these are what are known as triggers, that when you hear these things you may be triggered to behave in the way that you have been programmed. And this is why, when you watch so many corporate YouTubers, they will use those hit the bell, smash the like, and why you see so many of these memes that kind of have 99% of you. They're designed to kind of get a reaction, right? It is a reaction for a call, or a call of action to gain a reaction, right? To make sure you respond. And this is a little bit about, the smash the bell and hit the like narrative, that this isn't really anything to benefit the YouTuber in person, because YouTube can manipulate those figures as and when it desires, for whatever reason, to paint it. If it's like they want it to be popular, they can make it look as though it's got millions of views. If they don't want it to be popular, they can make it look like it's got 3 views, right? So that stuff doesn't really make a difference, I don't think. But what it is seeing how many people will actually respond to a trigger. And with MK Ultra programming, these subjects that get programmed and get brainwashed have a trigger. And one of the shows that I did want to talk about tonight was called Granite Flats. If or not you haven't seen this TV show, I recommend you do. It's one of the best shows you haven't watched, and it's probably one of my favorite shows ever, if I were to stop and think about it. But it takes place back in the 1960s, and it's set in this fictitious small little town called Granite Flats, which kind of surrounds a military air base and military hospital, which is a front for MK Ultra research. And one of the characters in the TV series, or in the show, is a Manchurian candidate, and you watch how they experiment on him, how they test him, and how he has a trigger, which is one of the nurses that works there. So the programmers tell her what they want him to be programmed with. She delivers the message. He goes out and does his business. But it's in the very early days of sort of MK Ultra, and they sort of develop. They figure out that they don't necessarily need the trigger to be there in person if they can record the trigger's commands onto tape, Walkmans, headphones, stereos. Guys, we talked about this as well. You can then still program your target, right, without actually having the trigger there. So can these methods, or have these methods, which I do strongly believe they've been transferred into social media, can they eventually program us to do exactly what they want? And could they make us kill ourselves or other people if they wanted to? God, I could do with some more coffee, to be quite honest, but I am, as I said, sort of struggling a little bit with a headache, and I kind of got like this horrible ball of pressure sort of just in the nose, in my eye socket there, which is kind of why I'm trying to cover my eyes a little bit from the bright light. Bright light, sound like the Gremlins. Bright lights, bright lights. Yeah, so maybe I was going to actually look up if the heart attack machine, because I'm pretty sure I've seen somewhere that they can do this. They can transmit something that will stimulate a heart attack. And another show I was watching recently, although I can't really get into it because it's got some very annoying characters in it, was Under the Dome. And that was another thing they kind of got, that a very small village out in the middle of nowhere got put underneath some kind of weird, mysterious dome. But the dome kind of affected electronic devices. There was one character who had a pacemaker, and he got too close to the wall of the dome, and his pacemaker exploded. And there was another guy who had a hearing aid that he was murdered actually, but they pushed his hearing aid in it and it burst. So was that a result of electromagnetic frequencies in that dome that it caused those electronics within people to explode? you back? How was the coffee, prepper chick in Texas? Look, did I get it right? I didn't call you JBG then. And I do wish I could smoke inside, because coffee and smoking, we could get that kind of 1950s old style black and white talk show thing going. Fuck me, Cali Ninja, I'm glad you mentioned that. Although I haven't seen military helicopters, I've been seeing an awful lot of like small propeller aircraft flying over more than normal in recent weeks. Now we do got a little small airport out on the island there, Billy Bishop, where a lot of these kind of small prop planes will fly out of. Yeah, coffee and weed is the best of the best. But I've been noticing a lot of these smaller aircraft flying around in overhead more than normally. If or not, that is because, you know, I am home more of the day than I was before, and just noticing it, whereas I didn't before. But yeah, there has been a lot of stuff flying around. I have seen quite a few helicopters, although they haven't been military helicopters. And funny enough, I heard one just last night after I did the stream. I went out for a smoke. What's up, Alan Habs? Glad to see you, my friend. Glad. Look, we're over 10 people now. So that is sweet. But it is going to be a short one tonight. Guys, probably, although I do say that, and sometimes we do end up going longer than normal, so it might only be a little bit of an hour one, as I did promise some of you guys yesterday that we would be going live again today, so I didn't want to let you down and not be true to my word. Yeah, and of course you live in Texas, where there are quite a few military facilities, as well as you've got NASA there as well, I believe. And Devil Speak, here he is, glad to see you. So we are always the way. Look at that, I just said that we might be wrapping this up. And people arrive. Sorry, what was that? Will I be going back to the lockdown protest? I feel something terrible is coming here in the GTA. I'm not entirely, I probably won't be, to be quite honest with you, and I kind of, I'm not sure if something bad is coming. I sense sort of maybe there's something bad on the horizon, or if or not that is to be, or if that is not part of, you know, the design of keeping us in this perpetual fear of uncertainty, not really know what's going on. But something that, you know, I've sort of mentioned a couple of times perhaps, although I haven't really delved in that much into why I don't go to the lockdown protests so much. I mean, there was a couple of weird experiences that I had on a personal level, as well as witnessing and hearing some things that may or may not be that... can't even think of the word I'm trying to say now, but there might be some people behind the lockdown. They're a little bit unsavory or untoward, should I say. And the reason kind of because of this is within communist takeovers of a nation, and you know, maybe a socialist takeover, and we believe that if we are going towards a one world order, it will be a socialist society that we live in that is controlled very much by the states. Yeah, we do need to revolt, we do need to rebel, we need to start whistling Dixie and waving our Confederate flags, because the Confederates weren't the bad guys, they were just the ones that lost, and they were standing up to a similar tyranny that we are seeing now that is going on. But I do believe quite possibly that the lockdown movement, not just here in Toronto, maybe sort of around the nation, might be controlled by controlled opposition, and something, as I was about to mention, with Soviet and Chinese communist takeovers, that when they go into a nation or a country that they want to occupy and eventually take over, it's not an overnight experience. It's a long process. It takes about 20 years or so, and during that 20 years they will set up what's known as red squads, and the red squads, as they were known in China, would be they'd work from the government, they'd be government agencies, but they would set themselves up as dissidents against the government, and their purpose was to filter out all the dissidents and sort of people that would revolt and uprise out of the woodwork, mobilize them together, get them out on the streets in one big mob, and then eventually, once the time come, oh, these people, yeah, that was lucky we got a camp built for them, let's get rid of them. And that's a little bit kind of what I feel the lockdown movement is here. And also the sort of people that, in the beginning, everybody spoke a very good game and everyone seemed to be sort of all out for freedom. But the sort of people that are speaking the loudest there seem to be more about promoting themselves and maybe promoting the movement in the better of everybody else. And to be quite honest, they haven't really resulted in any favourable decisions that have supported us not being locked down. In fact, we're only getting worse and worse into things. And, while they're kind of happy to just let these people go wandering around and doing their thing, as much as it is important to protest and it is important to revolt, I feel that there's a very strong possibility that these people might be the people that started and organized this particular movement may not be out for the same reasons that the people that are there protesting are there for, if that makes sense. And something becomes sort of very evident about this when people started selling t-shirts and merchandise at these protests, as they sort of created a little bit of a market in demand for things. And then if you really want to support the movement, buy a t-shirt. Well, people that are out of work, struggling on income, low income, or maybe government handouts might not have $30 to spend on a t-shirt, if you know what I mean. So, are they any less of a supporter because they can't put their hands in their pockets? And then sort of when you see a few weeks and months after t-shirts and exemption cards are starting getting sold, that some of these people are getting business class flights to Ireland and Amsterdam into Vancouver and BC, you think to yourself, well, protesting is profitable for some. Don't know if or not you agree with that, Alan Habs, but another thing that was worrying, I think the last time I was in and around the protest area, there was an individual there that was like, okay guys, these are he had pins with hand symbol like this, and he's like, okay everybody, this is the truther signal, and let's wear a little pin with the hand like this, and if you see another truther, make the symbol. This is kind of the identification. This is the Jews and their little stars back in Nazi Germany, that these truthers that are now out with the protests, they've either got their masks over hugs t-shirts or get mad t-shirts, whatever their slogans are, and now they've got these badges that they wear. This is an identifying symbol that, if or not they are being raised and formed into dissidents, then these symbols would be very recognizable by the forces to be. It's got very cult-like, Alan Habs, very, very cult-like indeed, and very hive mind. If you watch or look at any of their kind of groups or pages or anything that you fund them, and to be quite honest, it's kind of that movement that is giving me a lot more of this kind of like monarch programming, mind control, hive, like the brainwashing, where people are just sharing all these things. It is coming more and more from this kind of lockdown movement than anybody else. That they have become sort of very much a one mind, one voice, retorting the same rhetoric over and over and over again. But there is an awful lot of cult-like behaviour, and sort of the whole dancing down on the beach till 6 o'clock in the morning, and middle-aged people on Molly dancing to techno music just seems a little bit very, very strange, and doesn't really seem to be a way of protesting in my eyes. It's just people having a party on the beach in the summer. I don't know, back in World War II, when the Allied forces stormed Normandy, they didn't set up a DJ table and some speakers and start dancing to Fatboy Slim, and they didn't have little exempt cards. We're National Socialist exempt, you're just going to have to go away. And Hitler didn't say, oh my God, these guys have got T-shirts and cards. The game's up. Let's give up the ghost. Let's shut down the camps. Let's give all those trucks back to Ford. You guys, stormtroopers, can you hang up your rifles? We didn't expect them to have T-shirts. That's going to put a dent in our one world Third Reich domination plans for sure. And as I said, freedom fighting is something that you're going to have to fight for eventually. And you see a lot of these folks on those platforms are all, I went to the supermarket and they said that they asked for me for a mask, but I said I'm medically exempt and they let me. And it's the same kind of text, and again the same sort of narrative and sort of how many of these people are doing the things they are doing because that's what they want to do, or is it because they're just copy and cat all the other things that they are doing? And again, I do got an article and a presentation planned on how communists take over nations, and when you kind of look at that and look at what's going on now, it's like, shit, that really is the deal. It is a socialist takeover, and of course the one world order will be a socialist environment. Yeah, I see, but fact, it's be says face that. I mean, again, I sort of support the fact that, it's unnecessary, the false science enforcing, this is the removal of freedoms. But walking around downtown for a couple of hours on a Saturday afternoon with placards and whistles and shouting slogans and stuff, it's very good. It raises awareness for the cause, but Sunday when you're not there, people aren't fighting for freedom anymore, if you see what I mean. You've got to fight for this freedom all the time, and sooner or later you have to fight with fists and feet, or maybe bats and balls, or bombs and bullets, whatever it is. What's this? Something? I know someone who was stabbed, had to be tested for COVID, was positive, and now she is. The modern day Democrats are the social party on fast track. Yeah, quite possibly. And this is the thing under the sort of pandemic now, that when you do go to hospital, because we're under those guidelines, almost everybody that walks in there has, pandemic, got to test you for COVID. So you become a COVID case even if you don't have any symptoms. And that is the other thing about this bizarre illness, that you can have it without having symptoms, or you can have symptoms without having it. Very, very bizarre. And what they've really done is created something that doesn't exist and called it COVID-19, and then used the fact that the majority of people are very unaware that we all carry coronavirus pathogens as well as lots of other pathogens for other viruses within us every day. In fact, we're 30% pathogens and viruses and bacterial matter that are within inside our body, and we're all going to test positive for it. Doesn't matter, we all have it, and if or not those pathogens become dormant, or if they become active, that's when we get sick. But coinciding the wave 1 and wave 2 with the flu season in the cold season, the time of year when people do suffer these things, then you can manipulate the figures, because I saw many reports that from wave 1 that flu's disappeared now, nobody died of flu last winter, but lots of people died of COVID. And this is the other thing, who called, they say that it's a mutated form of a coronavirus, but who told the scientists it was called COVID-19? Did the virus tell them? Did it, hey scientists, stop calling us coronavirus, stop mispathogenizing us, we're not coronavirus, not all coronas, we're actually COVID-19, virtual signal us, bitch, we're fucking special. No, it wasn't. The scientists named it COVID-19, and it's very, very interesting that it was around the time that people started pointing out that if you got Lysol, it actually protected you from 99.99% of germs and bacteria, including coronavirus. And all of a sudden, actually, it's the 0.1 bacteria that Lysol won't protect, and it's a special wing of coronavirus known as COVID-19. It is the one bacteria that it won't kill. Welcome, honks. I'm glad to see you. Yeah, I saw that. He had 4 tests, and again, I don't believe any of that shit. That guy's a fucking cocksucking shill that is out to push our transhumanism agenda on us, yeah, I don't trust Elon Musk as far as I can throw him. But that was interesting that he said he had 4 and 2 were positive and 2 weren't. And is he kind of helping to spread the misinformation and the eventual, as Alan Habs was saying, it's time to revolt. People are getting like that. Sooner or later, it's going to be someone's going to toss a Molotov, someone's going to throw fists, somebody's going to get stabbed. You're going to go to a shop one day and one of these little, please sir, you're not allowed in without a mask, and someone's just going to stick a fucking knife in his throat, and this is how it will start and how it will begin, if or not it does. So far, fewer people have died. Well, that is interesting. Fewer people have died during the world's deadliest virus than when there wasn't a world's deadliest virus. Go figure. But misinformation and deception is everywhere at the moment. And the artificial reality that which we will live in, or the augmented reality, whichever you are, will be whatever they want it to be. If they want us to tell us that COVID's killing 69 million people a second, that's what they tell us. Whether it is or not, it doesn't really matter. They tell us what they want us to hear rather than what we need to hear. Yeah, exactly. And the more misinformation, the more deception, the more we're going to be not unaware, but it just adds to the sort of fear factor, I guess, or adds to the anxiety that sorry, brain's going dead again. But the not knowing and the uncertainty just fuels the perpetual anxiety, and this is kind of what it is. I feel it is a very, very slow grind. They're wearing humanity down to the point where there will be an uprising, or people will just kind of give up, to be honest with you. Someone can die in a car wreck, it will be considered C19. Exactly. I mean, that's what I kind of... when it started, I put a bunch of memes out. I put 9/11, and said if 9/11 happened in 2020, 3,000 Americans would have died of coronavirus on September the 11th. If JFK was shot in 2020, it would have been coronavirus and not the magic bullet that shot him, right? If the Titanic shot, or COVID victims drown at sea. And let's all fuck COVID. Let's give COVID the double bird. Fuck COVID. Fuck it in the ass. Fuck Trudeau. Fuck Trump. Fuck Biden. Fuck politics. Fuck Elon Musk. Fuck all these new world order motherfucking elite cocksucker shit cunts. Sorry, that last part was hard to get out. But anyway, that's how I feel towards it. Some of you may not agree. Some of you may think that some of those individuals might be saints. But as far as, if you were one of those that was trusting the plan, and this is the plan, it doesn't seem like a very good plan to me. It did. COVID sunk the Titanic. Apparently, 6 million Jews during World War II died of COVID as well. It wasn't anything to do with the death camps. I think also COVID-19 took down the Challenger, the astronauts. Once they got into the orbit, all of a sudden COVID struck them when they got at a certain altitude and killed them instantaneously. Who is the Google moderator? We don't have a Google. My goodness. Did you see that? A Google moderator team removed a message. Alan Habs, what did you do, you bad person? Fuck you, Google moderator team. Suck my fucking dick, you short dick cocksuckers. Fucking Google. Quick, Nigel, deploy the Google moderator team. I don't know. I took a screenshot. I've never ever seen Google moderators before. Wow. Can you hear me, Google moderator team? Your mamas are all whores. You're all crack babies, and at least one of you was a dumpster fucking condom wipeout, baby. Your mama, she found a hobo's condom and she kind of squelched it out and then got a turkey baster and then rammed it up her diseased fucking yeast infected coochie, because no man would stick your dick in your mother's coochie, algorithm Google team person. Sorry, I'm getting a bit angry there. Stop the steal, and I still don't wear a mask and I got to. Fuck Big Brother, indeed, that is a spirit. Something I suggested to one of these anti-masker types that was crying about somebody that wouldn't let them into a supermarket because they weren't wearing a mask and wouldn't buy their excuse that they had a medical experience. I said, well, why don't you just take a hammer with you, and when they say that you're not allowed in, smash the window? And she's like, well, it's not worth it. And I said, well, maybe that's how much you value you put on your freedom, right? And this is it, you know. Maybe if some of those people back in World War II put up a little bit of a fight and didn't just get on the trains willingly, there might have been a different story, if you get what I mean. But that's what I'm saying. The New World Order isn't going to go away because people just don't want to wear masks. You know, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, that bloke, that guy, they're not going to be up there in their little New World Order offices and being, oh, Jesus Christ, I didn't see this. Some of those guys over in Toronto, they got T-shirts and some of them aren't wearing masks. We're going to have to put a stop to our New World Order, one world globalist dream. Yeah, jeez, fucking tell Albert Pike, if anyone can go back in time, that he didn't foresee the people with T-shirts in 2020 that would put a stop to all of this. And it's not going to stop until somebody fights back. And I've almost sort of thought about joking that maybe we should sort of adopt a few sort of ISIS tactics and maybe kidnap one of these security guards from a supermarket who enforces the mask mandate and behead them on a video, like, you know, end the lockdown or we will behead more no frills employees, and then chop his head off and push it in the camera and then make some fucking crazy sounds like that, and maybe then they will pay notice, because at the minute they're not really paying attention to people who are peacefully protesting and cleaning up their mess and not really making too much of a nuisance of herself. You know, at least sort of BLM and Antifa, they do cause a little bit of mindless destruction to some government property, and I'm all for that, to be quite honest. And that was what I was a little bit let down by the sort of lockdown protest, that there wasn't any sort of violence or aggravation which would appeal to the hooligan in me, because that's what hooligans like, a little bit of aggravation and violence and stuff like that. That's what I'm saying. What are they going to do? Drag you out by force? And, you know, all these people that sort of playing the victim. I went to the grocery store. I said I had a medical exemption, but they wouldn't let me in. Like, fucking put your big boy pants up. Take a fucking big boy piss and fucking get over it. You know, this is the way of the world. Or not. You don't have to like it. You don't have to agree with it. But don't think the world's going to fucking owe you a favour and go out of its way to make you feel special because you've found out there's a bylaw that says if you're exempt medically you don't have to wear one. Fuck the steal. I think the steal could be another stop. What are we talking about? Stop the steal. What are we stealing? What am I missing? Anyway, where's our friend Google moderator team? What happened to you? Where are you? You're not outside in a Black Hawk helicopter waiting to like abseil down and take me out for inciting people to speak about themselves. Oh, the US election. That's all fucking WrestleMania bullshit, fucking planned, staged event. It's like watching Days of Their Lives or one of these other soap operas, if you ask me. Maybe the Real Housewives of the OC. We're watching the real politicians of the DC county. But it's all staged, just like the pandemic. The planned election is all designed to kind of add to the uncertainty, add to the civil unrest, add to the divide. And that's why I'm very anti-establishment. Don't know if you guys noticed, I'm wearing a little pinky ring today. It's actually my dad's. My mum sent me a little parcel today, and that was my father's little pinky ring. So I don't really wear jewelry, but I I just thought if maybe some of you noticed, and I've also got his St. Christopher there, so that's a nice little thing to have, feel close to me. Clones and holograms, well, stuff we have chatted about, Project Bluebeam, Alan Habs, and are we being blue beamed now? And part of Bluebeam was not only the use of holographic imagery and technology to make us believe we were being invaded by an extraterrestrial force, or maybe we were being bombarded by meteorites, or perhaps angels or demons were descending from the heavens and people were being raptured, because this is what Bluebeam's concept was. But not only that, they were going to be using electromagnetic frequencies in order to manipulate the minds of the masses in order to believe what they were seeing was real. Is this what we're seeing now with the augmented reality, the COVID that doesn't exist, but they're selling us this fucking pandemic narrative down the mainstream and social media news feeds that millions and millions of people are dying, even though we don't see it? And then they push movies like Contagion, they make TV series like Utopia, put them out during the time of a lockdown, and people's imagination that see these films believe that what they're being told in real life is just like the fiction, and believe that is what the reality is. Selection, not election. That's a good thing. Those are cool. Oh, my ring and my thing. That's what you're talking about, not my little flashlight. I don't know why I'm playing with my little flashlight. That was I think Glynis sent me that in one of her little packages. All politicians are puppets of the elites, Martha. Politicians are the public face of the elites, and they are carrying out the wishes of the elites. They don't serve us. Donald Trump doesn't give a fuck whether you voted for him or not, if you shared his meme or gave him an amen when the fucking beam of light was shining on him. Don't know if any people noticed it, probably not. But I used the same beam of light Photoshop to put on a turd. In fact, it was this little turd. I took a picture of this turd here in my studio, and then went and got the stock beam of light template and put it over that turd. The exact same one that was over Donald Trump at that rally. Do you remember the one that many of you shared a little week ago? But Biden doesn't care about his voters. Trump doesn't. He doesn't even know your name. He doesn't care. And again, all it is just to see who will respond and go out and go to the vote and fill in a form. They've already forgone and decided who's going to be president before it even happens. I can't even remember when the last time there was an honest election, if there ever was one. I did put up a video a while ago, The Illusion of Freedom. Only 30 or something people have watched you. Maybe that's because the algorithm didn't want to see it, but go fish that video out. On my channel there, watch it, and you'll see exactly how the illusion of freedom works. And you've got two choices in the United States. It's not like you really got a choice at all. Cancer or AIDS, tampon sandwich, maxi pad sandwich. Which one of those two is the lesser of two evils? You haven't really got much of a choice. And you know what, fuck it, cancer gets better drugs on the rehab side of things than AIDS. But anyway, these people are all puppets of the masters. And this is, again, somebody was saying, well, we needed a businessman to come in. A man who's not been in, like 5 years ago, wasn't even a politician, this now a president. What does that say about the state of the world? If like 5 years ago I wasn't a doctor and all of a sudden I'm carrying out brain surgery, would you be that confident in my credentials and abilities to carry out the procedures of a brain surgeon with such little knowledge and no real sort of interest into it prior? I don't agree. He's every part of the Illuminati, and this is the Illuminati playing both sides of the coin to make sure they don't lie. It's like betting on black and betting on red at the casino. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. Controlled opposition, my friend. But as I said, that's what I think. I'm not telling you that's what you think. Well, something also that's very interesting, that at the moment in North America, that you can rearrange the letters of Donald Trump and spell turd. And obviously Justin Trudeau has turd in his name. Don't you think it's a little bit coincidental that the two leaders of the biggest nations in North America, or two most powerful nations in North America over Mexico, both have turd in their name? Right? Seriously, think about it. Is that a coincidence, or is that them telling you that they just put pieces of shit in power? I would like to think that it's them telling us that they put pieces of shit in power. And the other thing is, you look at Boris Johnson and Donald Trump, they're like clones. They're identical because they want us, it's the same characters. Some of you may not be aware that some US TV shows get rebranded into UK versions, like Sanford and Son. Was that Sanford and Son? But you remember the show here, Sanford and Son. In the United Kingdom, it's called Steptoe and Son. It was exactly the same show, same format, but they made the characters English instead of American. Boris Johnson is the English Trump character. That's why he's got the same hair and the same erratics, wears the same suits. Yep, The Office is another one. How is Donald? D-T-U R. If you rearrange the letters in Donald Trump, you can spell turd. D-U-R-T. There you go. But they're the same character. They look the same person. They're just playing the same parts and doing the same thing to usher in the one world order, and remove freedoms and stuff. I kind of did hope that Trump was going to be different when he was running, or maybe he is going to shake things up. But nobody gets into power that isn't meant to be. And if the elites really didn't want him to get in power, they could have taken him out before he even stepped foot in office. Remember what they did on 9/11, and remember what they did to JFK. If they really, really didn't want him there, he would be gone. Right? Remember what they did to Cappy. People that get into these places and do these things is because it was what they were meant to do. If they can bring towers down and turn them into dust, I'm pretty sure they can get to Donald, if they really wanted to. But I believe, this is all part of the design to maybe spark and cause a little bit of civil unrest. And once civil unrest is sparked, then we can introduce martial law, and then that's when your little COVID quarantine camps will come into play. Don't get me, well, yeah, I don't think any of us are spring chickens here, Martha, but we've gone over the 1 hour mark here. Yeah, I actually kind of, the whole vaccine stuff, I think that is all part of the narrative, as I'm saying, both sides are being controlled by the same origin. This is something we looked at yesterday. In the social media mind control stream, that these think tanks play both sides, and this is what I'm saying. Trump is playing, just as in WrestleMania you have Hulk Hogan and the Iron Sheik, and they're going to fight for the WWF Championship. When you're not watching WrestleMania and they're backstage, they're probably hanging out, chatting, having a beer, maybe smoking a spliff together, best of friends. But when the cameras are rolling, that's when shit goes down. They start the pantomime and all the showbiz shenbaz, but the sensationalism and I am a real American, and then boo, Iron Sheik, damn you. And politics is the WWF, or WWE as it's now known, for people who think that they're smart. It's Jerry Springer, exactly, Jerry Springer. And this is why I don't really pay attention to the press or what any politicians have to say, because it's kind of like believing the prostitute likes you. Yeah, I mean, he had COVID himself a couple of weeks ago, him and his wife, if you remember, but then they got the all clear and the positive, and just just doesn't make any sense to me. Apparently his wife's got a penis. I don't know if that's true. She's another Michelle Obama apparently, but it wouldn't surprise me. Doesn't look like Donald Trump. Kind of looks like the sort of person that would need Viagra, and even then you might not notice it. Well, that's all right, Martha. Don't you be sorry for having to go. It is Friday night. It is Friday the 13th. I am probably going to wrap this up sooner than later. Well, this is why we do need a revolution and a rebellion, I think, to be quite honest, guys. And a little bit like, it's a bit like Star Wars, I guess, in Return of the Jedi. Do you remember at the end of Return of the Jedi, like the rebels, they got all the rebel ships and everyone together and like, this is it, we've got this information, the Bothan spies have brought us this, that the Emperor's going to be on the Death Star, it's not operational, we're going to hit the Death Star and take it out by surprise, they're not going to see us coming. Only to find out that it was the Emperor himself that gave the Bothan spies this information for the rebels just to lure them into their death. And had it not been for those plucky little Ewoks, the rebellion would have been crushed. Prepper Chick's gonna let the dogs out. Who let the dogs out? Oof, 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 oof. Who let the dogs out? I'm glad. Well, hello, Sean. Hi, Seamus. Glad you stumbled on it too. Have you been watching all the time and been silent and just crawled out of the woodwork, so to speak, or have you just arrived us? But thank you for joining us this evening. But we will. What am I saying now? It's 1 hour 10 minutes. Let's try and drag this out for another 20, if we can. You do know me in my sort of anal OCDs for certain time frames and limits, but I am sort of struggling a little bit to know what to think about, and still do have a little bit of a headache from earlier, which could not be symptoms of artificial intelligence. But this is sort of what the whole globalization sort of thing was, that back in the sort of 80s we started hearing about globalization, but this was making the globe uniformed, and I sort of mentioned a couple of weeks ago that once upon a time, I was a teenager back in the 1980s and I used to go backpacking around Europe. What's up, Warfist? Glad to see you, bro. But when I used to go to like France, there were like French stores that you could only find in France. When you went to Germany, there were Germany stores that you could only find in Germany. Same, Italy, Austria, there were sort of specific businesses that you can only find in those places. You go to those places now and there'll be a Starbucks, a H&M, a Sephora, a McDonald's, probably a KFC, a Gap, all the familiar things. Same thing here. You go to the Eaton Centre in Toronto, or you go to the Galleria in LA, there's going to be pretty much the identical same as Cinnabon, a Wetzel pretzel, hot dog on a stick, Victoria's Secret, Abercrombie. It doesn't change. It's all the same, and this is what globalization was about, removing sort of independent free businesses, mom and pop shops, places like that, and introducing big franchise chains. Name Shauna, I'm us. Well, glad to have you back, or you found us again, and what is lost can be found, as they say, if they say that at all. What's up, Baby P? I know you are working tonight, unfortunately. We do miss you and hope your evening isn't so stressful. Maybe next week you can give us a little bit of an update on what's going on at your place of employment. You are in a hospital, and you were seeing some rise in COVID patients, and this is a little bit interesting. Martha's husband also was diagnosed a week or two ago with COVID. I think he's doing all right now, but he's got flu. Maybe he had flu all along and they just said he had COVID. Because as I said, I don't really think that COVID is a real thing. I just think they've kind of created it out of thin air and are using it to scare us with. So anyway, guys, what are we doing? 15 minutes, well, 17 actually. to fill before the 1 hour 30-minute mark. So I do apologize about this evening's stream. As I said, it's been a bit hit and miss and a little bit sort of scattered and discombobulated. And as I said, I did sort of want to try to bring together a little bit of a presentation and some fiction decoded on a few shows of interest lately, but maybe I'll try and get that done over the weekend and we'll come back again on Monday night. Don't want to give too much so you get bored, want to kind of leave you waiting more, wanting more, so to speak, but that'll probably be the next time we will be back on Monday. And if or not, I got to work out, look at the calendar. Excuse me there, because I wanted to do 2 nights of tea, not 2 nights of tea, 2 weeks of tea, which was basically going to be part of the 2-year celebration for TSP TV. 29th of November we will be 2 years old. For those of you that want to send birthday cards and gifts and stuff, maybe go out and start looking around now. Maybe I'll get like a registry thing like you do when you get where. I'm not going to do that at all, but it is going to be a little bit of a celebration, I guess, or try and be a celebration. And I sort of planned, you know what, why don't we do 2 weeks of live show to celebrate, maybe do a little bit of nostalgia, looking back at some old school TSP TV videos, and bringing a little bit of mix and match of everything in anything over a 2-week period, resulting in the grand finale celebration birthday type deal. Maybe we could even get some Torontonian thrift fam together and perhaps have a little party, although probably won't be much fun in the middle of November in a park, but if we bring enough crack it might be fun. No, we're not going to bring crack to the TSP TV 2-year celebration, but we might bring a big bag of weed maybe. Oh my god, you know what else I forgot all about, guys? The Pruno is still here. It's still been fermenting. Let's have a Do you know what? It actually smells nice now. It smells very, very much like sherry. But maybe I'm going to keep the Pruno. Pruno, for those of you who don't know, that's prison hooch. I made a batch of this a couple of months ago and it has been fermenting ever since. But maybe on... Oh my god. There we go. Got to gas it. Can you see that? That's like a science experiment. Don't know if you can see it all frothing and bubbling at the top there. Can you see? That is some lethal potion. What about you, honks? If you're still around, you down to drinking some prison hooch? Strawberry mint flavour. Oh, I've got it on my hands, but it does smell like sherry. It doesn't smell as bad as it once did. But giving that a shake, that's going to get it a little bit more fermented, I think. So maybe at the end of the 2 weeks of tea birthday celebrations, we will drink the prison hooch. Very easy to make, Shauna, sorry, I don't know why I kept saying that. I don't know if that's what you're talking about, being awesome body fuel, the prison hooch. I only drink Scotch. Well, I guess you'd be a little bit sophisticated like that, but you know, when there's no more Scotch left, prison hooch. Although I didn't make it in a toilet like you would normally if you were in prison, but other than that, it is pretty authentic. Judy calls, have to run. Okay, let's hope it's not emergency Judy. But as I said, we will try the God, I can really smell it on my hands now. But it doesn't smell as bad as it once did. That is a good indication. Whether or not it will taste any good, I don't know. But maybe we could mix it with some Scotch. Make a cocktail of sorts, honks. I don't even know what the alcohol content would be on that, to be honest with you, but it can cause death in some instance, so let's hope that doesn't be a resulting factor for us all. My goodness, why is tonight's show taking so long to get by? Some nights we do this and we're already 3 hours into the show, and today it just seems like time is standing still and my brain is... Mix it with scotch. Yeah, I don't imagine it'd be very, very nice. But then again, to be quite honest, scotch isn't exactly delicious like hot chocolate or Coke. And I mean Coca-Cola, not like cocaine, because that can be a little bit of an aftertaste if it's cut with the wrong stuff. But not much alcohol is really delicious. When you kind of come to think of it, it all tastes pretty yucky and nasty. Even sort of beer isn't that nice when you compare it to like lemonade. All the ghouls are out. Yeah, Friday the 13th, indeed. Maybe that was why it was such a weird day, because it was Friday the 13th, and it's Friday the 13th in 2020. Maybe add in some vodka. You can pretty much add vodka to everything. We could make some cocktails. Once upon a time, we used to make a very, very potent cocktail out of methadone, which is a heroin substitute. When they give heroin addicts when they're not on heroin anymore, they give them methadone. So use methadone, codeine, cough syrup, and tequila, and mix all that together. A couple of shots of that, and that's a fucking great afternoon for you right there. Don't know if you know anyone that can get their hands on methadone honks, but maybe if you did, we could add some methadone to our prison hooch. I'm pretty sure that would be a party waiting to happen. And we have got drunk a couple of times on air. I think courtesy of Glynis's care packages. She also usually sends me a couple of bottles of whiskey. And I don't really drink, to be quite honest. I very, very, very rarely ever feel the need to drink. But occasionally, sometimes on a hot day, maybe a cold beer is kind of nice, or even nicer, a cold, refreshing cider. But I don't really like alcohol. But a couple of times I've drunk some fine whiskey on air. Fireball is one of the ones that she sends. And is it Crown Royal, the other one? I think so. But anyway, she usually sends me a couple of bottles of little Mickeys of whiskey. And a few occasions I did get loaded whilst live on air. I don't know if any of you can remember those, but they were a little bit fun at the time. So yeah, guys, as I was saying, I think at some point that I am sorry this has been a little bit of a crappy stream for you. Maybe that was a little bit of pushing the boat out too far, doing a second stream 2 days in a row. Sometimes it does seem a little bit better if you leave a gap in between. But as I said, I did promise you guys yesterday that we would be here. If it's not 140 proof vodka, I'm not drinking it. That is the spirit, Cali Ninja. What about if you drank 2 bottles of 70% proof? Would that work in the grand scale of things? But yeah, artificial Friday the 13th. 9 minutes. Can I stretch this out another 9 minutes? Has anybody got any questions? What do you guys think about the pedestrianisation of Norwich city centre? Personally, I'm dead against it. Traders will need access to Best Buy. Sorry, that was an Alan Partridge quote then. But anyway, guys, let's maybe just wrap this up at the 1 hour 25 minute mark, and let's not kid myself and drag this out any longer and put you guys out of your misery, because I'm sort of not really feeling it myself anymore. So if I'm not feeling it, I'm pretty sure you're not. I don't drink anymore. I'm not a good drunk. Yeah, I don't enjoy being drunk at all anymore. Warfist, don't even feel the need to be. Kind of outgrew it a little bit. And being part Polish, Cali Ninja, I was kind of weaned on Polish vodka. Literally, when I started thieving, they put the pacifier in the old vodka, and that was what might explain why I ended up the way I did. Maybe not the best thing to give babies when they're teething is Polish vodka, but that is indeed what I was given when I was teething. But I think once upon a time that was kind of quite common practice to give the baby a little drop of liquor before bedtime, and there might have been a time in my life when I was young that my mum may or may not have been involved in some kind of wife swapping, sex cult, swinging religious group, that we were given nighttime drinks, and all the kids were put into one room together and given nighttime drink, which I think was NyQuil basically, and Ribena, which was a blackcurrant drink that we had in England. And I think that's what they did, knock the kids out so he won't wake up during the wife swapping sex party in the eyes of the Lord. But there you go. What happened to Devil Speak? He was here a little while ago. Maybe he had somewhere else to go. It was Friday night. Maybe people got places to be, things to do. Shauna, I rubbed my boy's gut. Yeah, it was one of the things that once upon a time that, you know, a little dab on the finger and they rub it. It would, drunk kids, happy kids was medicinal. And I don't think people once upon it wasn't something that was frowned upon. But I'm pretty sure now if you did that, you'd have child support and all sorts of things raining down on you. Probably some kind of angry Karen mob outside your house. Kids' rights matter. Kids' lives matter, or whatever. But there you go. We're down to 7 folks, guys. So it does look as though we jumped the shark on this particular Friday the 13th, not so special TSP TV live show. But anyway, for those of you that did tune in tonight, thank you very much for doing so, and I do apologize if this hasn't been the regular standard of shit video production that normally you are used to, although I'm not sure if there is even a standard of shit video productions or a bar of such that we do have to aim above or below in order to bring shit video productions. I'm just rambling on now for the sake of rambling on, because I do realize we're getting close to 1 hour and 30 minutes. Who thinks we're going to see an influx of people within the next 2 minutes? Cali Ninja, do you think we might see some of the Gusset girls pop out of the woodwork, and Anika or an Almal perhaps, maybe a little Darcy a run out from behind the dumpster where she's been vigorously giving tuggies for the afternoon? It usually happens. I think that's what happened yesterday. We were just about to wrap this up at the 1 hour 30 mark, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, some of the regular offenders. Well, no, I'm really glad, Shauna, you did found us. We've got a Shawnee as well. Shauna, and there's also Shauna from Face It Fearless, although we haven't seen her for a little while. It's not the same you, is it? By any chance? But yeah, we're glad that you showed up, and it's always something for a little bit of rewarding from these live streams when we do sort of get either newbies or long time viewers that suddenly find their voice and are not so silent, like we got Kelly yesterday, bless her, Kelly Rose. Shame we didn't see her today, but hopefully she will find the thrift store again. In part of, you know, the AI and the algorithm and being a non-monetized channel, there's a very good chance, even if you are subscribed to me, and even if you do hit the bell for notifications, I mean, when I say hit the bell, there's probably a chance that you just pressed it with your finger or your thumb. I don't think anyone's like hitting the bell or smashing the like at all. But check out regularly, because or check the channel regularly, because there's a good chance that they don't want you to know that I've made a new video or I am streaming live, which is quite often the case. Quite a few of the regular offenders who do sort of turn up to these streams will find me by chance and weren't made aware of it. So thank you, Shauna, for joining us tonight. What are we at now? Okay, only 3 minutes. Maybe I should start thinking about getting my little outro video in place. Which there it is there, although we're not going to play it just yet. We've got a little while to go. So as I said, guys, thank you again for tuning in. Again, my apologies that it wasn't the stream that I sort of promised and sold you yesterday, but circumstances out of my control deemed that it was a little bit difficult to do recording this afternoon. But hopefully, as I said, we will be back again on Monday. If or not you get a surprise bonus weekend show, I don't know, but let's not rule it out. But no promises there. But we'll be back again Monday, and I think it might even be the start of 2 weeks of tea as we begin the 2-year anniversary celebrations. And maybe if there's any sort of topics or subjects that you might be interested in seeing me bring you over that 2 weeks, let me know in the comments below, or on Facebook, or on Discord, or any of the other platforms that are available for you to stay in communicado with the other Thrift Fam members and myself. So it looks like we're not going to get any late night Gusset Girls Caddy Ninja, although I did just notice out of the corner of my eye we jumped from 7 to 8 viewers. So let's watch this space, because I've got 1 minute and 20 seconds to go before I reach the 1 hour and 30 mark. Oh my god, and somehow nearly I fell out of my fucking chair just as well I had the little thing, my outro rather, ready to go, or you'd have seen me almost crack my face on the desk, which would have probably been quite humorous and would have been sort of thing that would have gone viral. People getting hit in the groin with a football and personal injury does seem to be titillating for most people. But there you go, guys, we will wrap this up. Last minute now, no gussets tonight. Say now or forever hold your peace. But you've been a great audience as always. Thanks for tuning in. It is TSP TV. It was brought to you courtesy of Shit Video Productions. We'll catch you in another one, guys. Until then, remember to be excellent to each other and be sure to keep it thrifty.